Are you living or just staying busy? The Art of Time Mastery. Secrets to Success from Life Philosophy. Time is the only resource that, once lost, can never be regained. Unlike money, which can be earned or invested to grow, time flows in only one direction and never returns. Unfortunately, many people fail to recognize its true value, allowing it to slip away without contributing anything meaningful to their lives. Think about it. How many times have you been caught up in meaningless conversations? How much time have you wasted scrolling through your phone, watching trivial content, or indulging in unnecessary shopping sprees? These are the modern-day traps that subtly steal away our precious time, leaving us with nothing of real value. The story of a young entrepreneur serves as a powerful lesson about the real worth of time. At the start of his career, he eagerly attended every networking event, spent hours debating on social media, and socialized with friends whenever possible. He believed he was building relationships and gaining valuable life experience. But one day, his mentor asked him a simple yet profound question. Every day that passes, are you investing your time or wasting it? This question hit him hard. He began reflecting on how he was spending his time and realized that most of the activities he considered productive were, in reality, disguised procrastination. He recalled an old friend, a successful businessman, who always carried a notebook to jot down essential tasks, followed a structured work plan, and optimized every minute of his day. Inspired by this, he made a decision to change. He started treating time as a precious investment, recognizing that every passing moment wasn't just time, it was an opportunity to learn, work, grow, and build a meaningful life. He applied this principle rigorously, minimizing unnecessary meetings, drastically reducing time spent on social media, and focusing solely on the tasks that had real significance in his career and life. The results were astonishing. Within a year, he experienced remarkable progress in his professional journey, became more efficient, increased his income, and most importantly, felt a greater sense of control over his life. This story proves one undeniable truth. Time is not just something that passes, it is a priceless resource. And if we learn how to manage it wisely, we can completely transform our lives. The nature of wasting time. One of the primary reasons people easily waste time is because they are naturally drawn to instant comfort and gratification. This is a fundamental survival mechanism of the brain. It prefers what is pleasurable, requires minimal effort, and provides immediate satisfaction. However, this comfort is a double-edged sword, as it can trap us in habits that consume our time without adding any real value to our lives. We tend to gravitate toward activities such as casual chatting, spending hours sipping coffee, binge-watching movies, or endlessly scrolling through social media, without realizing that every passing minute is a missed opportunity. This reflects a core aspect of human psychology. We are wired to seek pleasure and avoid tasks that require effort and long-term commitment. A striking example of this is the phenomenon known as doom scrolling, the habit of mindlessly browsing social media for hours, consuming endless streams of negative news, meaningless debates, and addictive content. We do this to satisfy a fleeting sense of curiosity. But what is the end result? Time slips away, and we are left feeling drained, empty, and unfulfilled, with nothing meaningful accomplished. Take, for instance, the story of Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time. He is not only renowned for his financial expertise but also for his exceptional time management skills. Buffett once said, "The difference between successful people and truly successful people is that truly successful people say no to almost everything." He understands that time is a finite resource, and it should only be spent on things that truly matter. Another thought-provoking example is that of a highly capable university student who constantly struggled to submit assignments on time. He wasn't lazy, on the contrary. He was extremely busy, but instead of using his time effectively for studying, he was caught up in club activities, social media debates, video games, and endless entertainment. When deadlines approached, he found himself in a state of extreme stress due to a lack of time. This story illustrates that the issue isn't that we have too little time, but rather that we fail to use it strategically. However, it is these seemingly small habits that gradually shape a lifestyle of procrastination, a lack of clear goals, and ultimately, A life without impact. If you look back at your day and realize that most of your time was spent on trivial matters, it is a clear sign that you are being passively carried along by life's momentum instead of actively steering it. Remember, time is not something to be spent, it is an asset to be invested. The way you use your time today will determine the quality of your future tomorrow. The true value of time. In the world of work and life, two things hold immense value: time and knowledge. Time determines how much you can accomplish in a day, while knowledge provides the foundation to create value from that time. Successful people understand this principle deeply. They don't just work hard. They work smart. Imagine having an hourglass placed in front of you. Each grain of sand that falls represents a moment you will never get back. So, how will you use each passing second? Will you let it slip away meaninglessly? Or will you leverage it to build something valuable for yourself? The way you utilize every moment is what separates success from failure. Time is more than just a measure of productivity, it also determines the value of services and opportunities. Think about a time when you were eagerly waiting for an important package. Would you be willing to pay extra for faster delivery? Most likely, yes. This example illustrates that time is not just an abstract concept, but a real asset that can be traded, bought, and sold in the economy. In a world that moves at high speed, those who know how to optimize time gain a competitive advantage. One fascinating story about the value of time is that of Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. While working as an engineer on Wall Street, Bezos noticed the rapid growth of the internet. Without hesitation, he left his stable job to start Amazon from his garage. He understood that opportunities don't wait, and that time is the ultimate factor in success. By seizing the moment and acting swiftly, Bezos transformed a small online bookstore into the largest e-commerce empire in the world. Another example is Elon Musk, who is famous for working 80 to 100 hours per week and optimizing every minute of his schedule for maximum productivity. He uses a method called time blocking, where he divides his day into structured time slots for specific tasks, ensuring that not a single moment is wasted. Musk believes that if you can optimize each day, you can achieve goals that once seemed impossible. But the key takeaway here is not that you need to work obsessively like Musk or Bezos, rather, it is that you must recognize the real value of time. Time is not just numbers on a clock, but an invisible form of capital that can generate immense returns if invested wisely. Ask yourself, how are you using your time each day? Are you learning new skills, building your career, and developing yourself? Or are you simply letting time slip away in mindless distractions? Imagine a middle-aged man looking back on his life, realizing that he has spent most of his time chasing things that didn't truly matter, endless small talk, hours of entertainment, or years of procrastinating on his dreams. When he finally decides to change, time is no longer on his side. This regret is something many people face when they fail to recognize the value of time while they are still young. On the other hand, there are those who make the most of every second. They plan ahead, prioritize what truly matters, and eliminate unnecessary distractions. They understand that time never rewinds, and that each wisely used moment is a step closer to success. If you know how to harness time effectively, every passing minute can become a building block for your future success. Effective time management secrets. One of the core principles of time management is learning how to say no to things that do not add value. This is not just about declining meaningless conversations or unnecessary meetings. It is a mindset shift that protects your most valuable resource, time. Many people struggle with rejecting invitations, social gatherings, or entertainment activities because of the fear of missing out, FOMO. However, if you do not develop the ability to control your time by knowing when to say no, you will find yourself caught in an endless cycle of unproductive work that contributes little to your long-term success. A powerful example of this is Bill Gates, who is known for his disciplined schedule and strict time management. He once shared that one of the most critical factors behind his success was his ability to say no to unnecessary opportunities. Gates understands that every minute wasted on unimportant tasks could mean missing out on a much bigger opportunity to make a meaningful impact. To help determine what truly matters, you can apply the 80-20 rule, Pareto principle. According to this principle, 20% of your efforts generate 80% of your results. This means not all tasks are created equal. Some have a far greater impact than others. Instead of trying to do everything, ask yourself, what is the most important thing I can do right now? If I could accomplish only one task today, what would it be? Which task will bring the greatest value compared to the time I invest? Successful people are not the ones who do the most, but rather the ones who do the right things. They understand that not all tasks hold equal value, and only a select few truly drive significant impact. Instead of getting lost in low-value tasks, they focus on high-impact goals, turning each working hour into a meaningful step forward. Take a moment to reflect on your daily routine. How much time is spent on tasks that are not truly necessary? How many times do you check your phone for messages and end up scrolling mindlessly? How many hours are lost in unnecessary meetings or tasks that could be delegated? Time fragmentation is one of the greatest enemies of productivity, yet most people fail to recognize how easily they fall into this trap. A real-world example is the story of an office employee striving for career advancement. Every day, he was overwhelmed by a flood of emails, long-winded meetings, and administrative tasks that kept him busy but not necessarily productive. One day, he decided to change his approach. He applied the principle of prioritization and focused only on tasks that delivered real value to his career. Within just a few months, his productivity skyrocketed. He caught the attention of senior management, and he was quickly promoted. Once you learn to focus on what truly matters and eliminate the unnecessary, you will realize that you can achieve more with less effort. Success is not about doing more, it is about working smarter. So, ask yourself, is the work I'm doing right now truly contributing to my most important goals? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time to reorganize how you use your time. Discipline and focus, the key to success. Here's an interesting truth. If you start your day with small, trivial tasks, you will likely end your day feeling like you haven't accomplished anything truly meaningful. You might stay busy all day, but by evening, when you reflect, the most important tasks remain unfinished. This leads to frustration, stress, and regret for wasting time. This is the trap many people fall into, confusing busyness with productivity. Imagine two people starting their day differently. One person wakes up and immediately checks their phone, responds to messages, scrolls through social media, and then rushes into a day filled with back-to-back meetings and endless emails. By the end of the day, they are exhausted but haven't made any significant progress toward their long-term goals. Now, consider another person who begins their morning by spending 30 minutes reflecting, planning, and tackling the most critical task first, the task that will make the biggest impact on their long-term success. After completing this task, they feel a sense of achievement, confidence, and momentum that fuels them to tackle the rest of the day with even greater energy. The question is, are you actively controlling how you spend your time? Or are you simply reacting to whatever comes your way? Are you truly investing in activities that lead to long-term success? Or are you just staying busy with things that don't matter? In life, success doesn't come from doing more, but rather from doing the right things at the right time with clear focus and strategy. Time is not just a continuous flow, it is a tool that, when used wisely, can help you build a meaningful life. The power of focus in history and success. If we look at the greatest minds in history, Leonardo da Vinci, Isaac Newton, and Steve Jobs, they all had one common trait: the ability to focus deeply on their goals. Isaac Newton spent years studying gravity, avoiding distractions to make groundbreaking discoveries. Leonardo da Vinci once said that patience and focus were the key factors in creating his masterpieces. Steve Jobs, known for his ability to simplify, firmly believed that focusing on a few essential things leads to greatness. But it's not just historical figures who benefit from extreme focus. If you look at top athletes, leading scientists, and successful entrepreneurs, they all follow the same principle: prioritize what matters most and eliminate distractions. Roger Federer didn't win Grand Slam titles by playing multiple sports. He dedicated his entire career to mastering tennis. Bill Gates deliberately stepped away from certain business areas to focus solely on developing Microsoft, turning it into a global tech empire. Haruki Murakami, the world-renowned author, follows a strict writing routine, waking up at 4 a.m., writing for 5 to 6 hours without distractions, exercising, reading, and maintaining a structured schedule. He believes that discipline and focus are the foundation for producing impactful work. These examples show that controlling your focus doesn't just change your productivity, it can change the world. If you want to make a real difference in your life, start by training your ability to focus, eliminating distractions, and committing to what truly matters. Focus in everyday life. In a world full of distractions, mastering your focus is one of the most valuable skills for success. And it's not just for business professionals, it applies to everyone. A student who spends the evening doing homework but gets distracted by constant phone notifications, endless conversations, and short videos will struggle to complete their assignments efficiently. A factory worker who engages in too much idle chit-chat during shifts may find their productivity suffering. Delaying important work. A stay-at-home parent who gets caught up in hours of television may neglect important household responsibilities. The difference between successful people and average people isn't about how much time they have, but how they use it. Successful people set boundaries, focus on what truly matters, and cut out distractions. They understand that controlling their focus doesn't just make them more efficient, it allows them to fully enjoy and engage with life. So instead of letting time slip away aimlessly, learn to prioritize what's important and take charge of your focus. Conclusion: master your time. Master your life. Ultimately, time management is not just a skill, it is a philosophy of life. Those who control their time are also the ones who control their destiny. Each of us is given the same 24 hours a day. But how we choose to use each hour and each minute is what determines the difference between success and failure. Time is like a river that never stops flowing, and we have two choices. We can either let it carry us aimlessly with the current of circumstances, or we can use it as a resource to steer our lives in the direction we desire. Look at the most successful people in the world. They don't have more time than anyone else, but they use their time strategically, dedicating it to what truly matters. Ask yourself this question every day: what is the most important thing I can do right now? Once you develop this mindset, you will start to see a profound transformation in your productivity, efficiency, and overall quality of life. Those who prioritize wisely do not get lost in meaningless tasks or distractions. Instead, they focus on creating real value in their lives. There is a well-known story of a teacher who once asked his students, "If you have an empty jar, how would you fill it most efficiently?" One student suggested filling it with sand first, then adding pebbles, and finally pouring in water. But the teacher smiled and took out large rocks, placing them in the jar first. Only then did he add the pebbles, followed by the sand, and finally the water. He explained, "The big rocks represent the most important things in your life, your family, health, career, and passions. If you don't put them in first, you will never have enough space for them later." The lesson from this story is simple: if you don't actively manage your time, trivial matters will consume all your space, leaving no room for what truly matters. Every day, we have a limited amount of time, and how we choose to use it determines our success or failure. Spend your time wisely, invest in self-improvement, build meaningful relationships, and pursue your passions. If you want to continue learning about success mindset, life philosophy, and effective time management, follow Practical Philosophy on YouTube. We bring you deep insights that will help you develop a sharper mindset and take full control of your life in a smart and sustainable way. Don't let time slip away meaninglessly. Start your journey of self-growth today.